Life as living prayer. This moment, this breath, this body, this heart. Every moment, an opportunity to live in a state of devotion to the One. This life is a living prayer. This life is an opportunity to celebrate, praise, uplift, honor the One. And there is no set way that should look. We think that praising God means going to church on a Sunday. We think that praising God means repeating verses from a text. We think that praising God means and includes some things and excludes other things, according to concepts and ideologies and man-made binaries. But the truth is that God's love, wisdom, light, divinity, the sanctity cannot be compartmentalized into one particular system, place, text, group, ideological paradigm. And the human need to capture and contain and analyze and understand. It's understandable. This mystery is a marvel. We want to know it better, and yet we must settle and rest on a knowing that we will never understand the mystery in its entirety, that we can never possibly hope to capture or contain God, God's wisdom, God's love, God's presence in anything we can point to with words, anything we could point to with a system we've created. There is no one way to God. This right here in this now moment, this is the way to God. This heart, this presence. Choosing to remember how beautifully simple it can be when we let God's lead take lead. How beautifully simple life can be when we let love lead. When we let this mind step aside and serve humbly the wisdom of the One, the wisdom of the web. Every action, every word, every embodiment has the potential to be a living prayer, an act of devotion. What feels devotional to you when your heart is alive, lit ablaze with God's love, no one else can ever know. That is between you and God. Making love, sacred sexuality, is praising God. Song, dance, music is praising God. Community, connection, intimacy, vulnerability is praising God. Sharing our own medicine, our own truths, our own frequency with the world is praising God. Humbly letting the heart lead is praising God. And there are a billion and then some other ways that we can praise God. And each one will be unique to us in this unique now moment that can never be replicated. It's the one remembering the one. We are an intrinsic part of the web of life. We are an innate part and expression of the all, not separate to, not below, not above, cannot be divorced from. We can forget, but we are never divorced from the web. We are never separate from God's love. I had such a profound heart opening earlier this week. I asked God to help dissolve the walls around my heart that was keeping me out of deeper connection to myself, to others, to the web. And the walls came down and my heart lit up with love. The love that burns everything else away. The love that makes me weep. To see through eyes that see everything as sacred. An honor, a blessing bestowed on me by the one in this moment, for this week, for this life. This life is a living prayer. This life is living prayer. Can we collapse the sense of separation between us and the one, us and the love? Recognize it's right here, right now, in this moment, in this mundane reality. It's not out there, it's not over there, it's not in someone else, it's not in a text or a system. It's not something we have to claw at, strive for. All of the striving and the seeking, it all eventually leads us back to the embodied remembrance that it's right here. It's right here. God is closer to you now than God has ever been and can ever be. You are never alone. And that is what I've woken up to this week. I could never be alone. I could never be unsupported. I can perceive that. I can perceive that to be true when I'm looking through eyes that only see the 3D individualization of each expression of the one. Yes, I can perceive separation. And when I close my eyes and I reconnect to this heart, there is no separation. God has never left me, could ever leave me. What would it be like to live from that place? To know that you are perpetually, innately, irrevocably supported. That you can rest, You can rest in this heart. You can rest right here, right now. That everything you've been seeking for, everything you've been striving towards, it's right here, right now. It's available in this moment. So breathe and rest. Come to your heart. Sit in sanctuary and communion with God once again. And don't let that word deter you. If that word creates a sense of separation for you again, leave it aside. Maybe another word is the portal in for you. Maybe you don't need a word. This is a felt sense and knowing what I'm pointing to with words. Can we have the courage to let the now moment, which is the only place where truth can be emanated or accessed, the truth that is true right now is not the truth that it was true a second ago, a minute ago, a week ago, a year ago, and it will not necessarily be the truth that is true in 1 minute, 1 week, 1 year. This now moment is all there is, and each unfolding now moment is all there is, and we receive the guidance, the wisdom, the influence from God in this now moment. We access truth in this now moment by leaning in and listening. Do we have the courage to listen? Do we have the courage to enact, to move from that space? Not from here, strategy, planning, logic, pragmatism, 1,000 steps ahead. How can we ever know God there? God's right here, right now. How can we ever know God here? We can't. As someone that has such a strong mind and an intellect, a hungry intellect, and I celebrate that. My mind is a beautiful thing. I can see that now. Each mind is beautiful in its own unique way, in the way that it assimilates this reality, this mystery, and yet this has been such a barrier because I've sought truth here, and the truth can never be found there, can never be found with ideas, can never be found with conditions, can only be felt and known and embodied and directly experienced. Life as living prayer, this moment right here, sacred, holy, devotional. What would it be like to do your day-to-day activities as an act of devotion? Washing the dishes, making the bed, doing your work with a heart full of love and praise that you're here right now, that you have everything you need right now because you have God. You're an expression of God. You are not separate from God. And when you know that, when you feel that, everything else dissolves. Everything else dissolves in the light of God's love. It's right here. It's always been right here. Will always be right here. We forget and we remember, and we forget and we remember. That's part of this condition of being human, of passing beyond the veil into form, of choosing to experience the separateness that comes with matter. And at the same time, it's all an illusion. We're waking up from a dream. Can we awaken from the dream and still choose to play in the dream, still choose to create in the dream, We came into this reality, this dream world, to play, to create. With this awareness, what will we create? What do we want to experience? We came here to create, to experience, to let this holy love, this holy possibility, infinite potential guide us. This is a playground and a prayer, all celebration, all devotion. How do you want to experience, celebrate, and devote yourself in each and every moment to the one, which is to love, which is to a heart so full it could burst? What feels like devotion to you? What feels like prayer to you? Release the expectations, the standards, the conditions that you've placed on yourself and on your life. And let this decide what feels holy and true. I'm sending so much love and gratitude for this community, for this web, for waking me up, for allowing me to help awaken others, for this co-creation, for the magic and the mystery that is being woven in each moment that we can never truly ever know, capture, understand. And that's a blessing. It'd be rather boring if we remembered it all, right? If we knew it all. If there was nothing to rediscover, re-remember. So take joy and pleasure in the remembering. Take joy and pleasure in the rediscovery of the truth. Let every now moment be a new moment to discover the presence of all you've been seeking that's right here, as close as it will ever be. In you, as you, through you, never alone.